Commander Jack Winters stood on the bridge of the Earth exploration vessel Audacity and took a deep breath. This was it. After years of deep space travel, humans were about to meet aliens for the first time. "Status report," Jack said, trying to keep his voice steady. Nancy Bell looked up from her science station. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her eyes were wide with excitement. "The alien fleet is holding position, sir. I count over 200 ships. Their technology is amazing." Sam Martinez whistled from his engineer's chair. "Those ships are at least 5 times bigger than ours. And look at those energy readings." Sam ran a hand through his curly hair. "We're like kids with toy boats next to them." Jack nodded. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and a serious face. Today that face showed small beads of sweat despite the ship's cool air. "Lily, are we ready to send our greeting?" he asked. Lily Daniels, the ship's communications officer, gave a thumbs up. Her blonde ponytail bounced as she nodded eagerly. "Yes, sir. I've loaded the official Earth greeting message. The translation program is ready. We'll send both audio and visual signals." Jack straightened his blue uniform jacket. This moment would go down in history books. The first official contact between humans and the alien civilization, calling itself the Galactic Hegemony. "Send the message on my mark," Jack said. He paused for effect. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Lily pressed the button to send the carefully prepared greeting, but instead of the dignified message from Earth's leaders, something else began playing. Staying alive, staying alive." Loud disco music blasted across all communication channels. The Bee Gees' "Staying Alive" echoed through space toward the alien fleet. "What the?" Jack spun toward Lily. "What's happening?" Lily's face turned bright red as her fingers flew across her control panel. "Oh no. The emergency playlist. Someone labeled it as first contact protocol in the system." She frantically tried to stop the transmission. "I think it was the maintenance crew's joke." On the main screen, they could see movement from the alien fleet. Several smaller ships were moving into defensive positions. "They're responding," Nancy shouted. Her scanners were picking up energy spikes. "I think they're confused," Sam laughed, nervously. "Well, it is a killer beat." "Shut it off," Jack ordered. "I'm trying," Lily cried. "The system is locked up." The song continued to play. "Life going nowhere, somebody help me." Just then, a light flashed on Lily's console. "They're sending a response," she said. The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had blue skin, large purple eyes, and small tentacles where a human would have ears. It wore what looked like a transparent robe over its slender body. The alien spoke, and the ship's computer translated, "Greetings, Earth vessels. I am Lord Vexithaler of the Zalarian Empire. We have received your unusual communication ritual." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Is this your species' traditional war cry? Or perhaps a mating call? Please clarify before our defensive systems automatically activate." Jack stepped forward, his face now completely pale. "No, it's neither. It's music. Just entertainment. A mistake in our communication system." Lord Vexithalor blinked slowly. "Entertainment? You broadcast entertainment for first contact?" "It was an accident," Jack said quickly. The alien was silent for a long moment. The bridge crew held their breath. Then, to everyone's surprise, Lord Vexithaler's face changed. The tentacles by its ears wiggled slightly. "Fascinating. Our research shows your species is full of such accidents. Perhaps we should meet in person to discuss this further. We invite your leaders to board our command ship for talks." The transmission ended. Jack turned to his shocked crew. Sam was trying not to laugh. Nancy was frantically taking notes. Lily looked like she wanted to disappear. "Well," Jack said with a weak smile, "that could have gone worse." Little did Jack know that this small mix-up was just the beginning of the strangest diplomatic mission in human history. Image description for Leonardo AI. A sleek, silver-blue human spaceship faces an enormous alien fleet in deep space. Inside, the human ship's bridge, 4 crew members in blue uniforms, a tall commanding officer, a serious female scientist, a relaxed male engineer, and a blonde female communications officer, stare in shock at a main view screen. On the screen is a blue-skinned alien with purple eyes and small tentacles near its ears, wearing a transparent robe. The alien looks confused while disco music notes visibly emanate from the human ship. Stars and a colorful nebula provide a dramatic space backdrop. The human ship is small and practical while the alien vessels are massive and ornate. With glowing purple energy signatures, the shuttle from the Audacity docked with the massive Zalorian flagship. Jack adjusted his stiff dress uniform collar one last time. Behind him, Nancy smoothed her formal science uniform. Sam checked his tools out of habit, and Lily fidgeted nervously. "Remember," Jack said quietly, "we represent all of Earth. Be polite, follow their customs, and try not to cause any more incidents." Lily winced. "I've triple-checked the translator. No more disco, I promise." The airlock doors slid open. A long hallway stretched before them, its walls glowing with soft purple light. At the end stood 3 Zalorians in their strange transparent robes. Jack led his team forward. Each step echoed in the quiet hallway. "Greetings," Jack said when they reached the aliens. "Thank you for inviting us aboard." Lord Vex Thaler, taller than the other Zalorians, blinked his large purple eyes. "Welcome, humans. We are most curious about your species." He gestured to their clothes. "Why do you cover yourselves so completely? Are you hiding weapons or deformities?" Jack coughed. "No, it's just our custom to wear clothing for modesty." The Zalorians looked at each other. Their ear tentacles wiggled in what the humans would later learn was confusion. "Modesty?" Vex Thalor said. "We Zalorians believe in transparency. Our robes show we have nothing to hide." He touched his see-through garment. "To cover oneself fully suggests dishonesty in our culture," Sam whispered to Nancy. "So we showed up to a transparency party in full disguise. Great start." Nancy elbowed him to be quiet. The Zalorians led them to a large round room. The ceiling was a dome of stars, and the floor was made of something that looked like glass but felt soft under their feet. "Please be seated," Vexthaler said, pointing to cushions on the floor. The humans awkwardly lowered themselves onto the cushions. The Zalorians gracefully folded their long blue limbs and sat across from them. "We have studied your transmission," Vexthaler said. "This music is most unusual. Do all humans move their bodies in such strange ways when listening to these sounds?" "Some of us dance, yes," Jack replied carefully. "Dance?" The translator seemed to struggle with the word. "You mean the ritual body movements? Fascinating." Lily, still feeling guilty about the music mix-up, tried to lighten the mood. "I could show you some simple dance moves later if you'd like." The joke made Sam smile. Lily, seeing his reaction, couldn't help but giggle. The effect was immediate and unexpected. All 3 Zalorians jumped to their feet. Alarm signals began to wail throughout the room. Force fields suddenly appeared around each human. "What's happening?" Jack shouted, pressing his hands against the invisible barrier. Vexthalor's tentacles were now fully extended, a sign of extreme distress. "You made the warning sound, the pre-attack signal." "What warning sound?" Nancy asked, confused. "The strange gasping noise. The one your species makes before attacking." Vexthaler backed away. "Our studies show that humans make this noise before violent actions." Lily realized what had happened. "You mean laughter? I was just laughing. It's a happy sound, not aggressive." The Zalorians looked skeptical. One whispered to Vexthaler, who slowly nodded. "Our scientists will need to verify this claim," Vexthaler said. "If laughter is truly not aggressive, why do your entertainment broadcasts show it preceding acts of what you call pranks and physical comedy?" Nancy tried to explain. "Laughter is a complex physiological response to humor and joy. It releases endorphins and—" "More scientific speak," one of the other Zalorians cried. "They're trying to confuse us with technical terms. Next, they'll deploy their weapons." More alarms sounded. More Zalorian guards rushed into the room. Jack closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This was not going well. Please, he said firmly. We come in peace. Can we start over? Maybe we could learn about your customs first so we don't accidentally offend you again? Vexthaler considered this for a long moment. Finally, he waved his hand, and the force fields disappeared. Very well. But no more of these laughing sounds. They distress our security forces. The humans nodded solemnly. Now, Vexthaler continued, let us discuss a treaty between our peoples. The Emperor himself is interested in what humans might offer the galactic hegemony. Jack felt a small glimmer of hope. Maybe this diplomatic mission could be saved after all. He had no idea just how wrong he was. Image description. For Leonardo AI. Inside a grand domed alien meeting chamber with a star-filled ceiling and glowing purple walls. 4 human diplomats in formal uniforms. A tall male commander, a female scientist with a bun, a relaxed male engineer, and a nervous blonde female communications officer are trapped in individual transparent force fields. Facing them are 3 tall, slender, blue-skinned aliens with purple eyes and ear tentacles, wearing transparent robes and displaying alarm. Zalorian guards. After 4 hours of talks, Jack felt like his head might explode. The Zalorians had explained their customs in painful detail. He now knew more about proper tentacle positions and transparent robe styles than he ever wanted to. And now, Lordy, Vexthaler said, sliding a glowing tablet across the table. The treaty. Jack looked at the strange symbols on the screen. The ship's translator converted them to English text. He read carefully, aware that his 3 crew members and the 5 Zalorians were all watching him. This looks straightforward, Jack said. Trade routes, communication protocols, non-aggression pact. He paused at one section. What's this about human delicacies? Vexthaler's ear tentacles wiggled with excitement. Yes, our scans show your planet has rare resources we find most valuable. We wish to trade for them. What resources? Nancy asked, frowning. The ones that produce joy sounds, Vexthaler replied. Our empire has many wonderful things, but we lack the ability to create true humor. We would trade much for this resource. Jack was confused. You want funny things from Earth? Yes, Vexthaler said. Your broadcasts contain many humans who create these joy sounds in others. We wish to experience this. Sam whispered to Jack. I think they want comedians. Jack reread the section. The translation was tricky. It seemed the Zalorians believed humor was a physical resource like gold or oil, and they wanted Earth to supply it. If we sign this, Jack said slowly, you'll offer Earth protection and advanced technology? Of course, Vexthaler replied. For a steady supply of these delicacies that create joy sounds. Jack thought for a moment. This seemed too good to be true. Advanced alien technology in exchange for comedy shows? But the treaty was clear, and Earth could certainly use powerful allies in space. Very well, Jack said, pressing his thumb to the tablet. On behalf of Earth, I accept these terms. The Zalorians made a strange humming sound that their translator said was celebration. Excellent, Vexthaler declared. We will expect the first shipment of these precious resources within 1 Earth month. The Emperor himself is eager to experience your humor makers. Jack nodded, thinking this would be the easiest treaty to fulfill in human history. 2 weeks later, Jack stood at attention in the main hall of Earth's space agency. Cameras flashed as the president pinned a medal to his chest. Commander Winters, the president said, your diplomatic mission has secured humanity's place among the stars. This treaty with the galactic hegemony ensures our safety and technological advancement for generations to come. The crowd applauded. Jack smiled, but inside he felt uneasy. After returning to Earth, he'd been so busy with debriefings and celebrations that he hadn't fully reviewed the final treaty translation. After the ceremony, Nancy found him by the refreshment table. Jack, she said quietly, we may have a problem. She handed him a tablet with the final official translation of the treaty. Jack's eyes widened as he read. Oh no. The treaty clearly stated that Earth had agreed to provide the Zalorian Empire with its finest comedy performers on a regular basis. The translation AI had converted human delicacies to comedians in the final document. The Zalorians think we're sending them professional comedians, Jack said. They expect people who can make them laugh. Nancy nodded. And remember how they reacted to Lily's giggle? They don't even understand human humor. Just then, the space agency director approached them with a big smile. Good news, Commander. We've assembled the first team to fulfill our treaty obligations. They're waiting to meet you. The director led Jack and Nancy to a conference room. Inside stood 4 nervous-looking people. A tall man with glasses stepped forward. Hi, I'm Greg Parker. I do stand-up comedy on weekends. They said something about an alien tour? His voice shook slightly. I usually get stage fright with human audiences, so no pressure, right? Jack looked at the confused comedians, then back at the treaty. This was not going to end well. Image description for Leonardo AI. A grand ceremonial hall on Earth with flags and space agency logos. In the foreground, a stern-faced Commander Jack, in a decorated uniform with medals, looks alarmed as he reads a digital tablet. Beside him, Dr. Nancy Bell points at something concerning on the screen. They're standing slightly apart from a celebration where photographers and officials gather. In the background, through glass doors, 4 confused-looking comedians wait, in a conference room, led by a tall, nervous man with glasses, Greg Parker. The space agency director approaches Jack with a big smile, oblivious to their concern. The tablet displays alien text being translated to English, with the words, comedy. Performers highlighted, light streams through large windows showing Earth's skyline with futuristic buildings. The scene captures the moment of realization that the treaty has been misunderstood, with celebration contrasting sharply with Jack's dawning horror. 1 month after signing the treaty, a small fleet of Earth ships headed towards Zalorian space. The main ship had been renamed the Laughing Matter. Inside, Jack paced the command deck while Nancy studied Zalorian cultural files on her tablet. In the ship's lounge, 4 comedians sat in uncomfortable silence. Greg Parker stared out the window at the stars. His hands shook slightly as he reviewed his jokes. So, said Kate Howard, a short woman with curly red hair, we're supposed to make aliens laugh or they might declare war on Earth? She took a sip of coffee. No pressure. Ben Franklin, a large man with a friendly face, tried to stay positive. Look at it this way. We'll be the first human comedians to perform for an alien audience. That's going in the history books. Maria Lopez, the 4th comedian, was busy writing in her notebook. She looked up. I'm trying to come up with jokes that might work across species. It's not easy. Greg sighed. I've been going through the Zalorian information packets all week. They don't even have a word for joke in their language. Jack and Nancy entered the lounge. The comedians straightened up like soldiers. At ease, Jack said with a small smile. We're approaching Zalorian space. I thought you should know what to expect. Nancy activated a holographic display showing Zaloria Prime, the Imperial capital planet. It was beautiful, with purple oceans and green landmasses. The Zalorians are preparing for your arrival, she said. They've built what they call a joy sound arena for your performances. How big is it? Ben asked. Nancy hesitated. It seats about 100,000 Zalorians. Greg nearly choked on his water. 100,000? Including Emperor Zalthuzad himself, Jack added. This is being treated as a major cultural event throughout their empire. Maria closed her notebook. We're doomed. Not necessarily, Nancy said. We've been studying Zalorian reactions to different human behaviors. We have some ideas about what they might find funny. She showed them another hologram, this one of a Zalorian face. They seem confused by word-based humor, but they show interest in physical movements. When Sam tripped during our visit, 3 Zalorians made a noise that might have been laughter. So, slapstick comedy? Kate asked. Possibly, Nancy replied. We're still figuring it out. A voice came over the intercom. Commander, we're being hailed by the Zalorian welcome fleet. On my way, Jack said. He looked at the comedians. We arrive tomorrow, try to get some rest. After Jack and Nancy left, the comedians looked at each other. I'm going to practice falling down, Ben said. The next day, the Earth ships approached. Zaloria Prime. The comedians watched from the observation deck as dozens of Zalorian ships escorted them. The alien vessels shot colorful lights into space, creating beautiful patterns. It's like a parade, Maria whispered. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, they saw the capital city. Massive crystal buildings stretched toward the sky. Streets were filled with blue-skinned Zalorians all looking up at the human ships. They've decorated for us, Kate said, pointing. Strange objects hung from buildings and floated in the air. Jack and Nancy joined them at the window. Those are interesting decorations, Jack said. Nancy checked her tablet. According to the Zalorian welcome message, they filled the city with human joy objects. The ships got closer and the humans could see the decorations clearly. There were giant banana peels hanging from buildings. Huge cream pies floated in the air. Massive whoopee cushions were placed on public seats. Greg stared in disbelief. They think we slip on banana peels for fun? They've been watching old comedy shows in preparation, Nancy explained. They think these are important cultural items. The ships landed at a large spaceport. Through the windows, they could see thousands of Zalorians waiting. Many wore fake arrows through the headbands, others had clown noses. They're trying to welcome us by showing they understand our culture, Jack said. Try not to laugh. Laugh? Greg said weakly. I'm too terrified to laugh. A large Zalorian in an elaborate transparent robe approached the ship. Jack recognized Lord Vexthalor. Your first performance is scheduled for tomorrow morning, Jack told the comedians. Until then, smile, be polite, and try not to panic. Greg looked out at the alien crowd. Earth is counting on us, he said quietly. No pressure at all. Image description for Leonardo AI. A dramatic view from inside a sleek Earth spaceship as it descends toward an alien planet. Through large observation windows, 4 human comedians, a nervous tall man with glasses, a short woman with curly red hair, a large friendly-looking man, and a focused woman with a... The Joy Sound Arena was massive. 100,000 Zalorians sat in rising circles around a central stage. The air smelled like sweet flowers and something like cinnamon. Colorful lights danced across the ceiling, which was open to show the purple morning sky. Backstage, Greg paced nervously. He wore the special outfit the Zalorians had made for him, a sparkly blue suit with extra-large pockets. The other comedians were also dressed in bright, strange clothes. 5 minutes until showtime, said a Zalorian assistant, his ear tentacles twitching with excitement. Jack and Nancy joined the comedians backstage. Remember, Jack said quietly, this isn't just a show. This is diplomacy. The Emperor himself is out there. Nancy pointed to a large floating platform near the stage. That's him, Emperor Zalthuzad. The humans peeked through the curtain. The Emperor was taller than other Zalorians with longer ear tentacles and a robe that seemed to change colors. Around him were guards with serious faces. Great, Greg whispered. No pressure. Just the fate of Earth resting on whether we can make these aliens laugh. His face was pale and sweat dripped down his forehead. You'll do fine, Jack said, not sounding convinced. A loud bell rang and the audience went quiet. A Zalorian announcer stepped onto the stage. Esteemed citizens of the Galactic Hegemony, the announcer said in the Zalorian language, while the humans listened through translators. Today we witness a historic moment, the first performance of Earth's most precious resource, their humor makers. The crowd made a strange humming sound that showed their excitement. Greg took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The bright lights nearly blinded him. He could barely make out the sea of blue faces staring at him. Hello, Zaloria Prime, Greg said into the microphone. His voice echoed through the arena. It's great to be here. I just flew in from Earth and boy are my arms tired. Silence. Not one sound from the audience. Greg swallowed hard. So, what's the deal with space food? It's out of this world, I right? Still nothing. The Emperor leaned forward, his head tilted in confusion. Greg tried a few more jokes. Each one fell completely flat. He could feel sweat soaking through his sparkly suit. He looked off stage where the other comedians watched, with horror. Tough crowd, Greg muttered. He tried to think of his best material, but his mind went blank. His stage fright was getting worse by the second. In his panic, Greg took a step backward, tripped over his own feet, and fell flat on his back. Suddenly, the arena erupted with sound. Every Zalorian was making a high-pitched noise somewhere between a whistle and a hum. Their ear tentacles were vibrating rapidly. Greg sat up, confused. What's happening? Kate ran onto the stage to help him. I think they're laughing, she whispered. They liked it when you fell. The Emperor had risen to his feet. His ear tentacles were moving so fast, they were almost a blur. He made a gesture, and the crowd went quiet again. More, the Emperor's voice boomed. More of this physical expression. Greg looked at Kate, who shrugged and then pretended to slip and fall herself. The crowd went wild again. The Emperor was now making the whistling humming sound himself. Bindi. And Maria rushed on stage. Ben accidentally walked into a prop wall and knocked it over. Maria pretended to get her foot stuck in a bucket. Each clumsy movement sent the Zalorians into fits of their strange laughter. Backstage, Jack watched in amazement. They don't understand our jokes at all, he said to Nancy, but they find unplanned human movements hilarious. Nancy was taking notes. It seems they enjoy watching humans struggle with simple tasks or movements. What we consider embarrassing mistakes, they see as the height of comedy. The comedians were now fully committed to physical comedy. Greg was trying to sit in a chair but kept missing. Kate pretended she couldn't figure out how to open a door. Ben acted like he didn't know how to use a simple tool. Each silly action brought more whistling humming from the crowd. The Emperor was now leaning forward eagerly, his color-changing robe shifting to bright yellow, a sign of extreme pleasure in Zalorian culture. I think, Jack said with relief, this might actually work out. But as the humans celebrated their unexpected success, they didn't notice Lord Vexithalor watching them carefully from the side of the stage. His eyes narrowed in suspicion. Image description for Leonardo AI. A massive alien amphitheater with rising circular seating filled with 100,000 blue-skinned Zalorians with ear tentacles. Center stage, 4 human comedians in ridiculous sparkly outfits perform physical comedy. Greg, tall with glasses, is falling backward. Kate, short with red curly hair, is mid-slip. Ben, large man, crashes through a prop wall, and Maria, with a notebook tucked in her pocket, has her foot stuck in a bucket. The Zalorian audience's ear tentacles are vibrating in excitement as they make whistling humming sounds. A grand floating platform holds Emperor Zalthuzad, taller with longer tentacles and color-changing robes now bright yellow, who stands in delight. Colorful lights illuminate the scene under an open ceiling showing a purple alien sky. To the side of the stage, Commander Jack and Dr. Nancy watch in amazement, while Lord Vexus Thaler observes with suspicious narrowed eyes from the shadows. The contrast between the humans' exaggerated physical comedy and the aliens' enthusiastic response creates a scene of cosmic cultural misunderstanding. 3 weeks after their first performance, the human comedians had become the biggest sensation in the galactic hegemony. Posters of Greg, Kate, Ben, and Maria hung on buildings across Zaloria Prime. Zalorian children played with toys made to look like the humans. The Emperor had declared a new holiday called Human Joy Day. In the luxury apartment given to the humans, Greg looked out the window at the alien city. I never thought I'd become famous for being clumsy, he said. Or for eating spaghetti, Kate added. Her messy attempt to eat the Zalorian version of pasta had been broadcast across the Empire. Zalorians found the way humans ate fascinating and hilarious. Maria was on the couch, watching a strange sight on the large screen that covered one wall. The Zalorians had started a new entertainment show. It featured hidden cameras recording ordinary human activities around their apartment. "They're watching Sam try to fix the shower again," Maria said, pointing to the screen. Sam, who had stayed on as part of the diplomatic team, was struggling with alien plumbing. Every time water sprayed in his face, the Zalorian audience made their whistling, humming laughter sound. Ben entered the room. "You won't believe this, they want to broadcast us sleeping tonight." "Sleeping?" Greg asked. "Why would anyone want to watch that?" "Apparently," Ben explained, "Zalorians don't sleep like we do. They go into a light meditation state with their eyes open. The way humans close their eyes and become unresponsive for hours freaks them out. They think it's both scary and funny, like we're playing dead." Jack and Nancy arrived with news from their meeting with Zalorian officials. "The treaty is working better than anyone expected," Jack told them. "Earth is receiving advanced technology in exchange for your performances. The first shipment of medical devices arrived yesterday. They can cure diseases we thought were impossible to treat." "And the Zalorians?" Maria asked. Nancy smiled. "They've never been happier. The Emperor says humor is spreading throughout the Empire. Some Zalorians are even trying to imitate human behaviors to make each other laugh." "So were diplomatic successes?" Greg asked, still not quite believing it. "The biggest in Earth's history," Jack confirmed. "But there's more. Lord Vexus Thaler wants to expand the cultural exchange. They want to send cameras to Earth to record more humans doing everyday things." Kate frowned. "Wait, they want to make reality shows about regular humans? Just living normal lives?" "Exactly," Nancy said. "They find everything we do fascinating. The way we brush our teeth, how we get confused by assembly instructions, our reactions when we stub our toes. It's all comedy gold to them." "This is getting weird," Ben muttered. Jack shrugged. "Weird or not, it's working. The Zalorians have even started treating other species in their empire better. They're too busy watching human comedy shows to enforce some of their stricter rules." A Zalorian assistant entered the apartment. "Excuse me, honored humor makers. The entertainment director wishes to know if you would demonstrate your making the bed ritual for tonight's broadcast." Greg sighed. "Sure, why not? My mom would be so proud. I'm a galactic star for being bad at tucking in sheets." That evening, a special broadcast was shown across the Empire. It featured humans from the diplomatic team trying to assemble furniture, using Zalorian tools. Jack's struggle with what looked like an alien version of an IKEA chair had the Emperor himself rolling on the floor with laughter, his ear tentacles vibrating wildly. But not everyone was amused. In a dark room in the Imperial Palace, Lord Vexithalor met with several senior officials. "These humans are hiding something," he said, his voice low. "I've been researching their broadcasts from Earth. They perform these clumsy actions on purpose, in what they call comedy shows." "What are you suggesting?" asked one official. "I'm suggesting," Vex Thaler said, "that they are deceiving us. Real humans don't act this way all the time. They're trained performers pretending to be clumsy. The Emperor is being fooled." Another official looked worried. If true, this would violate the treaty. The Emperor would be most displeased. "We need proof," Vex Thaler said. "I've placed special monitoring devices in the humans' QA. 1 month after becoming galactic celebrities, the humans were invited to a special ceremony at the Imperial Palace. The grand hall was filled with Zalorian nobles, all wearing their finest transparent robes. Emperor Zalthuzad sat on a floating throne in the center of the hall. His color-changing robe shifted between shades of purple and gold. When the humans entered, he rose to greet them. "Welcome, joy makers of Earth," the Emperor said. "You have brought great happiness to our empire." Greg, Kate, Ben, and Maria bowed, awkwardly. Behind them stood Jack and Nancy, along with other members of the Earth diplomatic team. "We are honored, Your Imperial Majesty," Jack said formally. The Emperor gestured to a display showing viewing statistics. "The humans' daily activities have become our most watched entertainment. 80% of all Zalorians tune in daily." The nobles made their humming sound of approval. Many were wearing "I Love Humans" badges with Greg's face on them. "Today," the Emperor continued, We honor our Earth friends with the highest award in the Empire, the Golden Tentacle. Servants brought forward cushions holding golden statues shaped like Zilorian ear tentacles. Each human was given one. Just as Greg accepted his award, the doors to the hall burst open. Lord Vex Thalor marched in, followed by Imperial guards. "Your Majesty," Vex Thalor called out, his tentacles rigid with anger, "I have discovered a terrible deception." The Emperor's robe turned dark blue, a sign of concern. "Explain yourself, Lord Vexathalor." Vexathalor pointed at the humans. "These creatures have been lying to us. They are not naturally clumsy or amusing. They are trained performers who rehearse their so-called accidents." He gestured, and a large screen appeared in the air. It showed footage of Ben practicing falling down in his room. In another clip, Kate was rehearsing getting tangled in Zilorian bedsheets. The nobles gasped. The Emperor's robe turned deep red. "The color of anger, is this true?" the Emperor demanded. Greg looked at his fellow comedians, then stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we are indeed professional comedians. On Earth, people train to make others laugh. That's our job." The Emperor's tentacles quivered. "So you have been deceiving us? The treaty specified natural human delicacies, not artificial performances." "Wait," Nancy interrupted, stepping forward with her tablet. "There's been a misunderstanding. Humans naturally find different things funny than Zilorians do. We had to adapt to create humor you could enjoy." "Silence," Vex Thalor shouted. "The treaty has been violated. These humans must be punished and Earth must face consequences." The Emperor raised a hand for silence. His robe was now shifting between red and black, showing anger and disappointment. "We will consider what action to take," he said coldly. "Until then, the humans will be confined to their quarters." Guards surrounded the Earth delegation as they were led away. Jack whispered to Nancy, "This is bad. Very bad." Back in their apartment, now guarded by soldiers, the humans tried to figure out what to do. "We need to explain that comedy is normal on Earth," Kate said. "They think we're some kind of natural resource, but we're artists." Nancy was scanning data on her tablet. "I've been studying Zilorian brain patterns," she said. "There's something interesting here. Their brains are physically different from ours in the areas that process humor." "What does that mean?" Greg asked. "It means," Nancy explained, "that they literally cannot understand intentional humor. Their brains aren't wired for it. That's why they only laugh at accidents and struggles. They don't have the neural pathways to get jokes." Sam, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. "So we need to help them understand our kind of humor. Is that even possible?" "Maybe," Nancy said slowly. "I've been working on a neural modification, a temporary one that might allow Zilorians to process humor like humans do." Jack looked skeptical. "You want to rewire alien brains?" "Just temporarily," Nancy said, "like giving them special glasses to see a color they've never seen before. It would wear off after a few hours." "Great plan," Ben said sarcastically. "Now we just need to convince the angry Emperor who thinks we tricked him to let us mess with his brain." Just then, a message appeared on the screen in their apartment. It was from one of the Zilorian entertainment directors they had worked with. "Humans," the message read, "many of us enjoy your performances, whether rehearsed or not. We want to help. The Emperor has agreed to a cultural exchange visit to your planet Earth. This may be your last chance to save the treaty. A delegation leaves tomorrow." Jack looked at the others. "This could be our chance if we can show them Earth culture firsthand and test Nancy's neural modification," Greg added. "It's risky," Maria said. "So is letting the most powerful empire in the galaxy think we tricked them," Jack replied. "I'll contact Earth. We need to prepare the biggest welcome in human history." Outside their window, they could see protesters gathering. Some Zilorians held signs supporting the humans. Others demanded punishment. The future of Earth-Zilorian relations now depended on whether they could make the Emperor understand the concept of humor. Image description for Leonardo AI. A dramatic confrontation in a grand Zilorian imperial throne room with towering crystal, columns and floating light orbs. Emperor Zalthuzad, tall with elaborate tentacles, stands from his hovering throne, his color-changing robe now deep red with anger. In the center, Lord Vexithaler points accusingly at 4 human comedians who look shocked and dismayed. Greg, tall with glasses, Kate, short with red curly hair, Ben, large man, and Maria, holding her notebook. Behind them stand Commander Jack and Dr. Nancy with concerned expressions. Floating in the air is a large holographic display showing footage of the humans practicing comedy routines. Zalorian nobles in transparent robes fill the hall, their expressions changing from adoration to shock, some still wearing "I love humans" badges with Greg's face. Imperial guards with ornate armor move to surround the humans. Golden tentacle-shaped awards lie abandoned on the floor. The scene captures the moment of exposure, with the Emperor's anger contrasting with the humans' dismay and Vexthaler's triumph. Above them all, ornate alien architecture with impossible geometry and ceremonial symbols frames the confrontation. 2 weeks later, Earth had transformed its largest sports stadium into a welcome center for the Zalorian delegation. Colorful banners hung everywhere. Thousands of people filled the stands, eager to see real aliens for the first time. Emperor Zalthuzad's massive ship hovered above the stadium. Smaller ships landed in the center of the field. The crowd gasped as Zalorians stepped out, their blue skin shining in the sunlight, their transparent robes catching the light. The Emperor emerged last, his color-changing robe currently a cautious yellow-green. Lord Vexithaler walked behind him, looking suspicious of everything. Jack, Nancy, and the 4 comedians waited at the bottom of a red carpet. The President of Earth stood with them. "Welcome to Earth, Your Imperial Majesty," the President said with a bow. The Emperor nodded. "We are here to better understand your culture before making our final decision about the treaty." The day that followed was carefully planned. First, the Zalorians visited a water park. They watched in fascination as humans splashed and slid, sometimes falling or getting water up their noses. The Emperor's robe shifted toward blue, showing interest. Next came a petting zoo. The Zalorians were amazed by animals, as their planet had few native species. When a goat ate part of Lord Vexithaler's robe, the Emperor's tentacles vibrated slightly. A small laugh. By the time they reached the final event, a comedy show at Greg's old club, Nancy was ready. "Your Majesty," she said, approaching the Emperor carefully. "Human humor works differently than what Zalorians naturally find funny. I've developed something that might help you experience it the way we do." She showed him a small device. "This creates a temporary neural connection. It would let you understand our jokes." The Emperor looked skeptical. Lord Vexthaler stepped forward. "This could be a trick, Your Majesty." "I'll try it first," Jack offered, "to show it's safe." Nancy placed the device on Jack's temple. Nothing happened. "It's designed for Zalorian brains," she explained. "It won't affect humans." The Emperor considered for a long moment. "Very well," he finally said. "I am curious." Lord Vexthaler looked shocked. "Your Majesty, I must protest." But the Emperor raised his hand for silence. Nancy carefully placed the device on his temple. Inside the comedy club, Greg took the stage. The Emperor sat in the front row with the device still attached to his head. Other brave Zalorians had also volunteered to try Nancy's invention. "So," Greg began, "what's the deal with space travel? You spend 3 years getting to another planet, and the first thing they ask is if you brought a gift." There was silence. Then, slowly, the Emperor's tentacles began to vibrate. A strange sound came from him, not the normal Zalorian whistling hum, but something closer to a human laugh. Greg continued his routine. With each joke, the Emperor laughed more. By the end, he was making a full human-like laughing sound, his robe cycling through bright, happy colors. After the show, the Emperor stood up, his eyes wide with wonder. "I understand now," he said to Greg. "You are not deceiving us, you are artists. You create joy on purpose. It is a skill, a talent." Lord Vexithaler looked confused. "But Your Majesty, they admitted to rehearsing." "Of course they rehearse. the Emperor said. Just as our musicians practice before performing, these humans have massed